My girlfriend said, "I'm taking our vacation fund to visit my sick aunt. It's a family emergency." I said, "Family first." Then her aunt posted a birthday brunch photo with my girlfriend and 8 other women at a luxury resort in Cancun. When I forwarded the post to her mom, who mentioned her aunt was actually dead. Original post: I, 31 male, have been with my girlfriend for 3 years. We live together. We split rent 50-50 on a 2-bedroom. We're not married, not engaged, just together and building something. Or at least I thought we were. About 7 months ago, we started a vacation fund. It was my idea. I wanted us to go somewhere nice for our anniversary. Maybe the Caribbean, maybe Europe, somewhere neither of us had been. We each agreed to put in $400 a month, separate from rent, separate from bills, just our trip money sitting in a savings envelope. Yeah, an actual envelope, old school. We kept it in a nightstand drawer because we liked physically watching it grow. She thought it was cute. I thought it was practical. By last month, we had $5,600 in that envelope. 7 months of both of us skipping takeout, saying no to random purchases, me driving my 10-year-old Civic instead of finally trading it in. Real sacrifices, small ones, but they added up. Then, 3 weeks ago, my girlfriend came to me looking stressed, like genuinely upset, red eyes, the whole thing. "My aunt is really sick," she said. "My mom just called. It's bad. She's in the hospital, and they don't know how long she has. I need to fly out and see her." Now, I'd never met this aunt. My girlfriend had mentioned her maybe twice in 3 years. But family is family, and I'm not the kind of guy who questions someone's dying relative. "Of course," I said. "Go. Do you need help booking a flight?" Then she said, "I need to use some of the vacation fund. Flights are expensive last minute, and I don't have enough in my checking account right now." I hesitated, not because I'm heartless, but because $5,600 is a lot of money, and some is a vague word. But I looked at her face, the tears, the worry, and I said the thing any decent partner would say: family first. Take what you need. She hugged me, cried into my shoulder, told me I was the best man she'd ever been with. That one's gonna haunt me later. She took $2,800, exactly half the fund. I thought that was oddly precise for a family emergency, but I chalked it up to her being fair. She left the next morning with a carry-on and a face full of sadness. For the first 2 days, she texted me sparingly. At the hospital, Aunt is stable but weak. Mom is a wreck. Short, emotional messages. I sent flowers to her mom's address. $65 from a delivery service, because that's what you do. Day 3, radio silence. I figured she was dealing with heavy family stuff and gave her space. Day 4, I'm scrolling Instagram, not looking for anything, just mindlessly thumbing through stories while eating cereal. And there it was, a post from an account I didn't recognize, but my girlfriend was tagged. A birthday brunch photo. 9 women around a massive table, covered in mimosas and tropical fruit platters. My girlfriend front and center, wearing a new bikini top I'd never seen, holding a champagne glass, grinning like she just won the lottery. The caption read, "Birthday brunch for the baddest bee in the group. Love you, girl. Palm tree clinking glasses." The location tag, a luxury resort in Cancun. I stared at that photo for so long my cereal got soggy. Like actually an edible floating island of Cheerios soggy. I screenshot everything. The post, the tagged photos, the location, the account that posted it. Then I went to our nightstand and opened the envelope, counted the cash. $2,800 remaining, exactly what she'd left behind. My girlfriend had taken $2,800 from our vacation fund, money we'd both sacrificed for, to go on a luxury girls' trip to Cancun, while telling me her aunt was dying. I sat on the bed for maybe 20 minutes, just breathing. Not rage, not sadness, just this cold, hollow feeling, like someone had scooped out my insides with a melon baller. Then I did something I probably shouldn't have, but honestly, I'd do it again. I texted her mom. We have a decent relationship. Her mom likes me, thinks I'm a good one. So I sent the screenshot and said, "Hey, I hope your sister is doing okay." My girlfriend said she flew out because her aunt was in the hospital. "Just want to check in and see how everyone's holding up." Her mom's response came in 9 minutes. "What aunt? My sister passed away in 2019, and my daughter told me she was staying home this week because she had extra shifts at work." I read that text 3 times. Her aunt was dead, had been dead for 4 years, and her mom didn't even know she'd left town. Her mom and I had a brief phone call after that. She was upset, not at me, at her daughter. She said, "I don't know what's going on with her, but I'm sorry you're caught up in it." Good woman, honest woman. Her daughter could learn something. I haven't confronted my girlfriend yet. She's still in Cancun for 2 more days. She texted me this morning. "Anna is doing a little better. Might come home Thursday. Miss you so much, babe. Red heart." I'm sitting on all of this. Screenshots saved in 3 places. I know exactly what I'm going to do when she gets home. More updates to come. Update 1, 6 days later. Okay, so she came home Thursday evening, rolled in around 8 p.m. with her carry-on, looking tanned and relaxed for someone who supposedly spent a week at a hospital, watching her aunt almost die. I was sitting at the kitchen table, not watching TV, not on my phone, just sitting. She walked in and immediately went for a hug. "I miss you so much." That was the hardest week. I let her hug me, didn't hug back. She noticed. "You okay?" she asked. "How's your aunt?" I said she's better, still weak, but the doctors are optimistic. That's good. What hospital was she at? Slight pause, very slight. The main one near my mom's place. You know, the big one. Interesting, because your mom told me your aunt died in 2019. The silence that followed was the loudest thing I've ever heard. She sat down slowly, put her bag on the floor, and I watched her cycle through about 6 different facial expressions in 3 seconds. Surprise, fear, anger, calculation, back to fear, then landing on something that looked like defiance. "You call my mom?" That was her first response. Not, "I can explain," not, "I'm sorry," but "you call my mom?" Like the problem wasn't the lie, the theft, or the dead aunt. It was that I fact-checked her. I texted her. "Actually," I said, "send her the photo of you at a luxury resort in Cancun with 8 of your friends. Birthday brunch looked nice, by the way. Great bikini." She went white, then red, then started crying. "It's not what it looks like. It looks like you stole $2,800 from our vacation fund to go party in Mexico while lying to me about a dead relative. If it's not that, I'd love to hear the alternative explanation." And here's where the entitlement started. Started because what came next was a masterclass in not taking responsibility. My friend was having a really important birthday, and I couldn't afford to go on my own. "You would have said no if I asked." You don't know that. You didn't ask. You chose to lie instead because you're always so careful with money. Every time I want to do something fun, it's, "Let's save, let's budget." I just wanted one trip with my friends without feeling guilty about it. So now, it's my fault she stole money because I'm careful with money. The audacity was almost impressive. I said, "Pack a bag. You can stay with one of those 8 friends from the brunch photo. You're kicking me out over a trip? I'm asking you to leave because you stole from me and lied to my face for a week. The trip is just the setting." She refused to leave. Since she pays rent, she has rights. I can't just kick her out. And you know what? She was technically right about that last part. Even though my name is on the lease and hers isn't. She has established residency, so legally I can't just change the locks. I looked this up later that night, and it's one of those things that makes you want to scream into a pillow. But law is law. So I told her, "Fine, you can sleep in a guest room, but we are done. And I want my $2,800 back. Your $2,800. Half of that was mine. You contributed $2,800 to the fund. You took $2,800 from a fund. So you took all of your half and none of mine, which means you owe me nothing for the fund. But you also lied about the reason, used a dead woman as your cover story, and manipulated me emotionally to get it. So no, you don't get to act like you just withdrew from your own savings account." She didn't have a response for that. She just grabbed her bag and went to the guest room, slammed the door so hard the frame rattled. Over the next 3 days, things got worse, way worse. She called her best friend, one of the Cancun crew, and suddenly, I'm getting text from a number I don't know. Her friend telling me I'm controlling and financially abusive for being upset about the vacation fund. Financially abusive for being upset about the vacation fund, that my girlfriend stole money using a dead aunt as cover. I screenshot those texts too. Everything gets screenshotted now. That's my whole personality at this point. Screenshot guy. Then my girlfriend tried a different angle. She came out of the guest room on day 2 and sat across from me at the kitchen table, all calm, all composed, and said, "I think we should go to couples therapy. We're not a couple anymore. You're going to throw away 3 years. You threw it away in Cancun. I'm just taking out the trash." Okay, that was harsh, and I know it, but I was running on bad sleep and worst feelings. She went back to the guest room. Day 3, and this is the one that really got me. I came home from work and found her going through the filing cabinet in my office. My filing cabinet, with my tax documents, my pay stubs, my lease agreement. She was looking for the lease. "What are you doing?" I asked. "I'm looking for proof that I live here, so you can't just throw me out." "I already told you I'm not throwing you out, illegally. I'm giving you a proper 30-day written notice," which, by the way, I pulled an envelope out of my work bag here. I gone to the legal aid office during my lunch break, got the proper template, filled it out, dated it, made a copy for myself. She looked at the notice, looked at me, and said, "You're really doing this. You did this. I'm just responding to it." She took the notice, went back to the guest room. I heard her on the phone with her mom for 2 hours. Her mom, based on what I could hear through the wall, was not on her side. At one point, I clearly heard her mom yell through the phone, "You told him. What about my sister?" So yeah, the family emergency lie didn't just damage us, it damaged her relationship with her mom too, because that's what lies do. They don't stay in their lane, they crash into everything. More coming. The 30 days just started, and I have a feeling they're going to be the longest 30 days of my life. Update 2. 16 days later. We're on day 19 of the 30-day notice. 11 days to go, and I need to vent, because this has been the most exhausting 3 weeks of my life. First, the living situation. Sharing an apartment with someone you've broken up with is its own circle of punishment. She stays in the guest room. I stay in the master. We share the kitchen and bathroom, like two strangers in a hostile Airbnb. She leaves her dishes in the sink. I wash mine immediately. We have silent battles over the thermostat. She bumped it to 78 one night. 78 in a 2-bedroom apartment. I woke up feeling like a rotisserie chicken. But the real stuff, the stuff worth updating about, is what she's been pulling behind the scenes. About a week after the 30-day notice, I started getting calls from her friends. Not texts this time. Calls. And not just the Cancun crew. Friends of hers I met once or twice at parties. People I barely know. All suddenly very interested in telling me what a terrible person I am. The story she's telling people, I'm punishing her for taking a vacation. That's it. No mention of the dead lie. No mention of the vacation fund. No mention of the fake hospital text she sent me for a week. Just, he's kicking me out because I went on a girl trip. Her cousin, a guy I'd actually gotten along with at family cookouts, texted me and said, "Bro, you're really going to throw her out over a vacation? That's cold." I was patient with this one. I liked her cousin, so I sent him the full timeline. The dead aunt, the hospital texts, the screenshot of the Cancun brunch post, the conversation with her mom confirming the aunt died in 2019, everything. His response? "Yo, she told me you were just being jealous and controlling. I had no idea. That's wild. I'm sorry, man." Then he went quiet. 2 days later, I heard from another mutual friend that her cousin had confronted her about the dead aunt thing at a family gathering. Word spread to her extended family. Apparently, an uncle was particularly heated because the aunt who died in 2019 was his wife. So, my ex-girlfriend used his dead wife as a prop in her lie. He didn't take that well. Can't blame him. That's the thing about a lie that involves real dead people. It doesn't just offend the person you lied to. It offends everyone who actually grieved that person. Her uncle and cousins on that side are furious. Not at me, at her. And she's losing family relationships that took decades to build over a trip she could have just asked me about. Honestly, now here's where she escalated. Day 14 of the notice. I come home from work. She's in the living room with a guy, not just any guy, a dude I've never seen, sitting on my couch, watching my TV, eating chips from my pantry. She introduced him as a friend who's helping me look at apartments. The dude was clearly not an apartment hunting buddy. He was clearly there to make me uncomfortable or jealous. He was sitting way too close to her and had this smug look like he was in on a joke I wasn't part of. I said, "Cool, did you find a place?" She blinked. She wasn't expecting calm. "We're still looking," she said. "Great. You got 11 days. I pick up the pace. I went to my room. I heard the dude leave about 20 minutes later. She knocked on my door that night and said, "Doesn't it bother you at all that you're apartment hunting?" No, that's the whole point, that I had a guy over. You can have whoever you want over. We're broken up. You told me that wasn't the case about 100 times, but I'm glad you're finally catching up. She didn't like that. She wanted a reaction. She wanted jealousy, anger, something she could point to and say, "See, he still cares. This is fixable." I gave her nothing because there was nothing. Whatever was left got cremated in Cancun. Day 17. She tried one final move. This one was the dirtiest. She told our landlord I was making her feel unsafe and that she wanted to be added to the lease, so I couldn't remove her. Our landlord called me. He's a reasonable older guy who's been renting to me for 4 years, long before she moved in. Your girlfriend called me and said she feels unsafe in the apartment. My stomach dropped because I knew where this was going. These accusations, even vague ones, can ruin a man's life. One phone call to the wrong place, and suddenly I'm defending myself against something I never did. But I've been preparing. Remember when I said I screenshot everything? I meant everything. I had every text exchange since the breakup, every calm measure message I sent, every explosive aggressive message she sent, the 30-day notice properly served, my timeline of events, her own texts admitting the Cancun lie, the conversations with her mom, all of it organized in a folder on my laptop and backed up to a cloud drive. I went to my landlord's office in person the next day, sat down with him for an hour and showed him everything. His reaction? Yeah, she's not getting on this lease. And a 30-day notice stance. He also told me, and this was genuinely helpful, that he'd had tenants try this move before. The vague, unsafe claim to establish residency rights or delay an eviction. He said he takes these things seriously, which is why he called me, but that based on what he was seeing, this looked like leverage, not a genuine safety concern. He documented everything I showed him on his end, too. I also went one step further. I called the non-emergency police line and asked how to document things proactively. The officer I spoke with suggested I file an formal documentation report, not pressing charges, not accusing anyone, just creating a paper trail that says, "Here's the situation, here's the documentation. I want this on record in case anything is alleged." I did that. Took about an hour. Now, there's an official record of the timeline filed by me with supporting evidence. My ex doesn't know about the police report. She doesn't need to. Day 19. Yesterday, she came out of guest room and tried one more time. "I'll pay you back the $2,800 if you let me stay." "It's not about the money anymore," I said. "It's about the fact that you used a dead woman to lie to me. Spent a week sending me fake hospital updates while partying in a resort. Tried to turn your friends against me with a fake version of events. Brought a random guy into my apartment to try to manipulate me, and then told her landlord I was making you feel unsafe. Any one of those things would be enough. You did all of them." She said, "I wouldn't have had to do any of that if you just forgiven me." And that sentence right there, that's the one I'll remember, because it told me everything about how she sees the world. In her mind, every terrible thing she did after the initial lie was my fault for not forgiving the initial lie. The escalation, the manipulation, the false safety claim, all justified because I didn't give her the reaction she wanted. She's not sorry for what she did. She's sorry it didn't work. I said, "You've got 11 days. She went back to the guest room. Update 3. Final 13 days later. She's out. It's over. Let me wrap this up. Day 28 of the 30-day notice, she finally moved out. Not gracefully. She waited until I was at work, took everything that was hers and a few things that weren't. My French press, a Bluetooth speaker I'd had since college, a throw blanket my sister gave me for Christmas. Nothing worth fighting over legally, but just petty enough to sting. She left the key on the kitchen counter. No note. I changed the locks that evening anyway, because trust is a concept that no longer exists in this apartment. The last 2 days of the 30-day window were quiet. I deep cleaned the guest room, found a receipt wedged between the bed and the wall from a restaurant in Cancun. $340 for dinner on our vacation. Fun money. I threw it away and then fished it out and threw it away again because I apparently needed to be dramatic about it. Here's the aftermath, the real stuff. Her family is split. Her mom is still on my side, or at least she's not on her daughter's side. She texted me a week ago. I raised her better than this. I'm sorry. I told her she didn't owe me an apology and that I hoped things would heal with her daughter in time. I meant that her mom didn't do anything wrong. The uncle, the one whose dead wife was used as the cover story, has apparently not spoken to my ex since the family confrontation. Her cousins are keeping their distance too. She effectively torched a section of her own family tree to avoid admitting she wanted to go to Cancun. If she just asked me honestly, "Hey, my friend's birthday trip is important to me, and I want to go," we probably could have figured something out. Maybe not from the vacation fund, but something. Instead, she chose the lie, and the lie chose violence. Her friend group took her back. Obviously, they were in on the Cancun trip and the cover story. So, they're not exactly going to condemn her for it. But I noticed a few of them unfollowed me on social media, which is hilarious. Like, I'm the villain in their story. A bunch of people who knowingly helped my girlfriend lie to me about a dead aunt are unfollowing me for being mad about it. The logic is absent. The $2,800, I never got it back. Let's be real, I'm never going to. I could take her to small claims court and I'd probably win. But the filing fees, the time off work, the emotional energy of seeing her again in a courtroom, it's not worth it. Sometimes the price of a lesson is $2,800, and you just have to accept that. I did take the remaining $2,800 from the envelope and book myself a trip solo, a resort in the Dominican Republic, 5 nights, all inclusive. I leave next month. I've never taken a solo vacation before, and honestly, the idea of sitting on a beach with nobody to answer to sounds like the best medicine available. The landlord was cool about everything. He thanked me for being the most organized tenant he's ever had during a dispute, which is a compliment I'll put on my resume if the job market gets any worse. He also said he'd be willing to give me a reference if I ever need to move, which is a small thing, but it mattered. The formational police report I filed never needed to be used. She didn't escalate the unsafe claim after the landlord shut her down, but it's there on record. If she ever tries to rewrite history about what happened in this apartment, there's an official document with a timeline and evidence filed before any of her potential claims. My lawyer friend, not an actual lawyer, a buddy who went to law school and now works in compliance, but close enough, said that was the smartest thing I did. Paper trails win arguments, he said. Now, and I want to be honest about this part because I think it matters. I'm not doing some victory lap. I'm not riding off into a sunset. I'm tired, genuinely deeply tired. Not sleepy tired, soul tired. 3 years with someone, and this is how it ends. Not with a fight about something real, not about values or goals or life direction, but because she wanted to go to Cancun and couldn't be bothered to just tell me the truth. I keep thinking about the flowers I sent her mom. The $65 arrangement I ordered because I thought her aunt was dying and I wanted to show support. Her mom was probably so confused when those showed up. Why is my daughter's boyfriend sending me sympathy flowers? That thought makes me laugh now, but it hit different at the time. Some people in the comments last time said things like, "She showed you who she really is." And yeah, that's true. But also, the person she pretended to be for 3 years was really great. And grieving someone who never actually existed is a weird kind of loss that I don't think most people talk about. You can't even be nostalgic properly because every memory is contaminated. Every "remember when we" comes with an asterisk. Now, my sister asked me last week if I was going to be okay. Not "are you okay?" but "are you going to be?" I appreciate the difference. I told her I am, just not yet. The apartment is quiet now. I bought my own throw blanket to replace the one she took. It's better than the old one. Got it from Target. $29.99. The French press I replaced too. Got a nicer one. $16 on sale. I catch myself checking her social media sometimes, and every time I do, I close the app and do something else. It's a reflex I'm trying to break, like biting your nails. You don't stop because you decided to stop. You stop because you replace it with something less destructive. So, every time I get the urge to check her profile, I text a friend instead, or call my mom, or just go for a walk around the block. Small trades. Bad habit for a slightly less bad one. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm grateful for the experience, or that everything happens for a reason. That's internet wisdom, for people who haven't been lied to by someone sharing their bed. What I will say is that I learned the difference between being a good partner and being a naive one. Being supportive doesn't mean being blind. Trusting someone doesn't mean silencing your instincts. And family first is a beautiful sentiment until someone weaponizes it against you. For anyone reading this who's in a similar spot where you know something is off, but you keep talking yourself out of it because you love the person, stop talking yourself out of it. The pit in your stomach is smarter than your heart. Trust the pit. I'm going to go clean my kitchen. It only takes half the time now. Thanks for following along.